What is up, YouTube? My name is Mr. Kyle Cohen. I am a 4th grade teacher in Cleveland, Ohio, and we are back and we are watching TikToks. This is the 3rd video installment of my reacting to TikTok series. It appears that you all really enjoy these videos, so we're going to react to some TikToks here today, and let's get into it.
What's my biggest problem with education? Let me tell you, it's not the low teacher salary, it's not the helicopter parents, it's not even some of the unrealistic expectations that get put on us. No. My biggest problem with education is our abbreviation for a cumulative folder. I'm sorry, but who thought that was a good idea? Because let me tell you something, first year teach...
We'll pause that right there.
Well, sweetie, you're in summer school because we just want to make sure that you know everything that you need to know for 2nd grade. What you mean you don't know why you gotta do summer school? You didn't do fall school, winter school, spring school. We gotta get you one season out of the year. I mean, come on.
I'm working summer school this year as one of our building school leaders as a principal, and I have our 5th and 6th grade building that I am overseeing this summer. We have conversations with students all the time about why they're there, and they're there because they clearly are struggling academically, and there's some sort of gap in their learning or something that has, pushed them to being at that program. But at the same time, it's kind of nice this year that we're really able to focus on students who just were really impacted by the pandemic. So it's not necessarily just students who are struggling academically, but students who can use some extra support. So yeah, but summer school, it's not fun. It's not camp, and I mean, it's hard to get kids to want to do school in the summer. And teachers. And teachers.
This is how I turn a fraction into a decimal without using a calculator, and I'm going to use the standard long division algorithm to do so, and I'm using the example 3/8. So in my classroom, I tell my students that a fraction is a division statement, so I'm literally looking at 3.
I have learned so many math tips and tricks from watching teachers on TikTok. Teachers on TikTok have shared so many strategies for solving all sorts of problems in really creative and different ways, and it's really helpful because the way the curriculum teaches students is really effective for a lot of students, but it's not always effective for all students. So coming up with these different and creative strategies that maybe can reach some different students, it's always useful. These people are so good at Google Slides. I mean, I'm not a Google Slide novice by any means. I know my way around a Google Slide, but the aesthetic and the look, and it's just so good.
I thought I'm gonna call you back. Oh, Lord.
I'm not the veteran teacher on my team. Thankfully, I work with 3 incredible veteran teachers who are on my team. At the last school I worked at, though, I was the only teacher on my team. Like, I was the only 4th grade teacher in the building. Each grade had one class, one teacher. So would that have made me the veteran teacher? I felt like the veteran teacher and the novice teacher, and I had no idea. No one knows what they're doing. It's fine. Part of me thinks in regards to the organizational pieces of special education that I really would enjoy to be a special education teacher, but I have so much respect for our special education teachers who do not get enough attention on this platform, nor in general. General education classroom teachers, in a lot of ways, steal the spotlight when it comes to who gets appreciated. I mean, teachers don't get appreciated generally, but particularly special education teachers do not get appreciated enough. At my school, at least, I work one-on-one with a special education teacher constantly, all day, every day. I have a group of students in my class who receive special education services. I am constantly leaning on and collaborating with my intervention specialist who supports these students, and it is a true partnership. Like, I could not do my job effectively if it were not for her. We are bouncing ideas off of each other all day, every day, and it looks completely different for all the special education teachers who are self-contained and have their students all day. I mean, these folks do so much. The writing of IEPs, 504s, IEP meetings, 504 meetings, collaborating with teachers, rewriting curriculum, modifying standards, they do so much. And if you are a general education teacher and you are not collaborating well with your special education teacher, with your intervention specialist, or whoever it is on your team, you need to change something in your behavior, because these folks are so important. They are providing support to students who need it most. They are underappreciated and they are so valued. So special education teachers, I appreciate you. Thank you for everything you're doing. Your work is so important, and I hope you feel supported because you all are needed. And I will use this opportunity while I'm on my special education soapbox to plug Braylon Martin at That Special Educator. She is incredible, and if you are looking for special education resources or videos or conversations, I recommend checking out Braylon. I filmed a collab with Braylon, which I will link. She is a wealth of knowledge, and it is our role as general education teachers to be knowledgeable about special education. You don't need to be knowledgeable about the intricacies of writing an IEP, but you need to know how to read an IEP, what goes into an IEP. You need to be able to identify students in your class who maybe could benefit from services, or students in your class who could maybe benefit from some sort of accommodations, right? These are terms and language and things that we are responsible for knowing as general education teachers. And if you did not get that education in your undergraduate or in your program or whatever you did to become a teacher, if you did not get that proper education, you need to take it upon yourself to learn and to advocate, because your students need you and you can't be there for them without knowing what you need to know first. Okay, sorry, soapbox is over.
Teacher tip, make yourself some copy clips. This way you don't have to write it on a post-it note each time you make copies.
How do people think of these things, and how do people have the time to think of these things? Like, I would love that. I would love to have some nice copy clips, but
This is probably going to take longer than 60 seconds, so that's why duets are off. Every time I bring up that teachers deserve more money for what they do, those who disagree roll out the same tired rebuttals. The first is that teachers get summers off, so let's start there and explain why that stance is invalid. I don't know if you've ever read a teaching contract, but I've read more than one, and the language in it is extremely clear. The average teacher contract says in no uncertain terms that teachers are paid for 10 months, not 12, and that's because we're not teaching during the summer. But teachers can choose to take this 10 months of pay and spread it equally across all 12 months, so
this is a great point. I had a conversation recently with a good friend of mine who is also a teacher, and we were talking about, would you rather get paid more to work all summer, or get paid the way we get paid and have summers without students? I do everything I can to preach work-life balance in my life on this YouTube channel, but establishing that balance, really finding that balance is so hard. And I'm about to be in my 4th year in the classroom, and I'm still figuring out that balance. And I've talked with friends and colleagues who have been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years, and similarly, it's until we have that summer break where we are really able to disconnect, focus on professional development, do all of the things that we want to do as teachers, as educators. I also filmed an entire video about teacher pay. I will link that one up here as well. teachers and pay. It's an extremely taboo conversation. It's an uncomfortable conversation, but we really need to be thinking critically about the work that teachers do. March of 2020, we had a reckoning as a country about the work that teachers do when everyone was forced to work and homeschool their children at the same time. And we saw celebrities taking to the internet and all sorts of leaders in fields taking to the internet, talking about their value and appreciation of teachers. And we can't move forward as a society with maintaining the status quo that was the state of education before the pandemic. We see teacher fallout rate, people leaving the classroom at such a high degree. I mean, teachers come into this field, work 1, 2, 3 years, and then leave. And in order to push our education one step forward, in order to create an education system where all students can thrive, we need to be valuing our teachers to the highest level, because who are we as a society without a strong education system? Stabilos! I love Stabilos. Stabilos are my favorite pen. Well, that and Flair pens and Papermate ink joys. But I think Stabilos are my favorite. Stabilo, sponsor me.
Teacher tip part 3. I know it's really exciting to have class jobs and make the whole entire chart and make it really nice and pretty and have all the kids' names in it, but I might get some hate for this, but I don't have class jobs.
I actually also, well, my first 2 years of teaching, I did have class jobs because I thought it was the thing to do. And then this past year with the pandemic, I didn't have any class jobs because we had like very strict protocols in regards to things that students can and cannot be touching. Those protocols started to shift towards the end of the school year, or about like midway through the school year. So instead of having class jobs, I kind of just asked students who would be interested in sharpening pencils, who would be interested in making sure the library stays organized. I sort of just took volunteers for these various jobs, and it worked so well. Let me backtrack a little bit. In my classroom, I communicate with students that our classroom is kind of like our second home. It's our community. It is shared. It's not mine. I'm not the only person who does work in this classroom. We all do. And it's on all of us to maintain our space. I plan to just take volunteers who wants to do this, who wants to do that, who wants to do this, let them do it until they get bored of it, and then we'll switch. I understand that classroom jobs teach responsibility and accountability, but with 4th graders, I can't manage the jobs. It's too much. If I have to be on top of the pencil person to make sure they're sharpening their pencils, it's not worth it for me. I will teach that responsibility and accountability in other ways, because my guess is if that student who is assigned to sharpen pencils, just as an example, if the student who is assigned to sharpen pencils is not doing their job appropriately, my guess is that this same student is also struggling to turn assignments in on time, is also struggling to write their homework down in their planner when needed to do so, or get their work right. Like, so I can have these coaching developmental moments with this student throughout the day at other times. I don't need to also be chasing them to get done a classroom job. I get so excited for first-year teachers. I mean, you are entering the field of education. It's such a pivotal time as we're leaving the pandemic and we're cultivating and recreating an education system that all students deserve. And at this time, you have such an opportunity to make such a big impact. I mean, truly. And first-year teachers enter the field so excited, right? Setting up your classroom for a lot of teachers is something that they've been waiting their whole life for, and you have every right to find all of the joy in those small moments, right? If setting up your classroom is something that brings you fulfillment, do it and do it well. I mean, your classroom is, like I said before, it becomes your second home. And do not take any judgment from any of those teachers around you. If you have a veteran teacher on your team who does not understand your excitement for setting up your classroom, or if your principal is judging you for coming in over the summer to set up your classroom, in one ear, out the other, your students deserve a space that makes them feel excited. You, the teacher, deserve a space that makes you feel excited. I cannot do my job effectively in a room that is cluttered, in a room that is not organized, that doesn't look fun. I came into education to create incredible learning moments for students, and that looks like a space that is conducive for these learning moments. So set up that classroom, keep that positive energy, and don't let the people around you bring you down. You are entering education at a time where you are so needed and you are feeling excited about it. Hopefully, if you're a new teacher and you have your first job, my guess is you're feeling excited. Let that excitement carry you as long as it possibly can, and keep listening to people who are building you up and shut out those people who are bringing you down. Go set up that space. Set it up. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you are a teacher on summer break, I hope you are living up each and every moment. You have earned and you have deserved this break, especially if you taught last school year or the year before. So enjoy each and every moment. If you have not already done so, make sure you hit that red subscription button down below. We are really close to 10,000 subscribers, which for me is a very exciting milestone. But as always, I so appreciate you being here. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.